I'm here to say, I have several expressions, but one of them is, I eat no for breakfast. Somebody tells me, no, it can't be done. No, nobody like you has done this before.
She doesn't hear that. She eats no for breakfast. And to her, that makes sense. Just one more reason you have to be removed from office. She eats no for breakfast. That could go in so many different directions, couldn't it? There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. Let's go back to Senator Bob Menendez, the crook alleged. The CNBC people have the story. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey and his wife have been indicted in New York on federal bribery charges related to their allegedly, quote, corrupt relationship, end quote, with three businessmen from their home state to protect those men and benefit the nation of Egypt. Egypt, they're really not on our side. Any other country is better than our country as far as the Democrats are concerned. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan has scheduled press conference for 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday to discuss the indictment against the senator and Nadine Menendez, which also charges three businessmen, Wael Hanna, Jose Uribe, and Fred Daibes. See, you got going that. Only one of those sounds Egyptian, but what do I know? And the indictment says that the Democrat Menendez and his wife, from at least 2018 through 2022, are you saying that she was his wife from at least 2018 to because semantically, I think, hey, a rewrite. We need rewrite in here. Accepted, quote, hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for using Menendez's power and influence as a senator to benefit the men and Egypt. That's what it says. And it's the poorly written sentence should have said, the indictment says that the Democrat Menendez and his wife accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from at least 2018 to 2022. But the way that it's written, it's ambiguous, and it appears as though they could be talking about his wife from 2018 to 2022. But the English language is not respected by journalists in the United States of America. In fact, it's barely practiced. Those bribes included cash, gold, payments toward home mortgage, compensation for a low or no-show job, a luxury vehicle. Hunter Biden got a luxury vehicle too, didn't he? He got like $130,000 for a luxury vehicle, which he bought, and then he traded it in for a different luxury vehicle, and that would happen. And those are bribes, aren't they? According to Ukrainian whistleblower, those are bribes, and they were being bribed by the bribers who were bribing them. And bribery is a specifically impeachable offense. High crimes, misdemeanors, bribery, right in there. Got it right in there. So the bribes included cash, gold, payments toward home mortgage compensation, low or no-show job, luxury vehicle, and other things of value, according to the indictment issued by a grand jury in Manhattan federal court. How did this happen? How did a Democrat find himself indicted, and his recent wife also? Pretty amazing. Menendez, who is up for re-election in 2024, is the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And I got another little funny, inside Washington circle fest in a hot tub moment for you, too. Michael, we have Joe Biden yesterday talking to the Hispanic Caucus. And there are multiple ironies and absurdities here because Joe Biden's brain doesn't work at all. That brain of his, she's a no good, that's a no good, that brain. What's the matter you? You got a no good brain. And Joe Biden, he was speaking to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus because there is no Congressional White Caucus, no Congressional Irish Caucus, just, victim caucuses because the Democrats, you know how they are. They love crazy stuff because they're completely nuts. But let's go to Joe Biden yesterday. The New York Post has the story, but the Washington Post doesn't because it's not a newspaper. It's a press release for the Democrat Party. Biden praises, quote, Congressional Black Caucus, end quote, during address to Congressional Hispanic Caucus in President's latest gaffe. And Victor Nava at the New York Post has the story. Another day, another slip-up. President Biden on Thursday expressed his admiration for the Congressional Black Caucus during a speech to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus in his latest head-scratching moment. The gaffe, is it really a gaffe, when it's just normal? And it's when everything is a gaffe, is anything a gaffe? The gaffe came as he delivered a speech in Washington at the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute's 46th annual gala. They're having a gala for the Hispanic Caucus. Biden, 80, celebrated gala award recipient Sister Norma Pimentel. Is Sister Norma Pimentel, do you think, one of the sisters of, what are they called? The, cross-dressing transgender of divine abuse or, something. Of divine decadence of, because they're Democrats and you know how they are. So the Sister Norma Pimentel, the executive director of Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley, waving illegal aliens into the country and giving them all kinds of stuff. Now, so let's go to Joe Biden because there's another item that you're not going to hear elsewhere. And I'm going to tie a couple of things together here. But here's Joe Biden yesterday addressing the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and naturally thanking the Congressional Black Caucus.
They echo what my dad taught me.
What?
And I mean this sincerely. My dad used to say, everyone.
He means it.
Everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity and respect.
That's what his father said.
The Congressional Black Caucus embodies all those values.
That's right. Well, that may or may not be true, but they're not here today. Thanks for the hat tip and everything. And here's a fun fact to know and tell, because you're not going to see this a lot of places. But the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Gala was being emceed. The Master of Ceremonies was naturally an MSDNC anchorwoman by the name of Alicia Menendez. Alicia Menendez is the daughter of Democrat Senator from New Jersey Bob Menendez, who was just indicted on multiple bribery charges today because it's all a circle fest in a hot tub. The Democrat Party and information dominance, media dominance, the merger of state and corporate power. That is the Democrat Party, fulfilling, of course, Benito Mussolini's definition of fascism. MSNBC anchor Alicia Menendez will serve as Mistress of Ceremonies. I don't think you can say mistress, Ken. Doesn't that suggest that she's having sex on the side with someone? Isn't that what that implies? The mistress? You got to, you can't have a master bedroom. I don't think you should have a Mistress of Ceremonies in your master bedroom, don't you think? Will serve as Mistress of Ceremonies for the CHCI 46th Annual Awards, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. So naturally it's the CHCI. They might call it the Chichi or something because you got to reduce everything to an acronym and turn it into Chichi. That's amazing stuff. And our news media doesn't cover the news, as you know. They cover it up because they're really Democrat Party front groups almost all the time. So the MSNBC anchor Alicia Menendez, got to be an upsetting day. Her father's just been indicted again. He was indicted several years ago on a completely different set of charges. And he skated somehow. I'm guessing a Democrat jury might have had something to do with it, maybe a Democrat prosecutor. So the Mistress of Ceremonies for Chichi's 46th Annual Gala. And what a coincidence that she, because it's a media Democrat revolving door world, and you're the daughter of Senator Bob Menendez, who was indicted years ago on several charges and skated. And she gets a job as an anchor at MSDNC, and her dad is a Democrat senator from New Jersey who has a history of at least being indicted for things, and here he is being indicted again for bribery which is what the Biden family appears to have done all over the place. Yeah, so they were very excited to announce July 25th that the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute, Chichi, announced that MSDNC anchor Alicia Menendez will serve as mistress of ceremonies, very evocative, during the 46th Annual Awards Gala. See, the event honors the nation's most remarkable Latino leaders and nobody else. And this year's will be held September 21st at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C. And it's very exciting that MSDNC has the daughter of Senator Menendez as one of their anchors. That's kind of nice, don't you think? And who was it? NBC hired Chelsea Clinton, right? And Jake Tapper was a Democrat Capitol Hill staffer, and Jim Sciutto at CNN, he was an Obama administration official, and Chunk Todd was a Democrat Senate campaign employee, and his wife is a big Democrat Party apparatchik working for the Bernie Sanders campaign and things, taking in millions of dollars from the Bernie Sanders campaign alone, and all of that is fine. George Stephanopoulos, of course, was a Clinton administration official and had no experience as a journalist. Now he's a $17 million a year Democrat Party spokesman on ABC News. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers. It is good to be a Democrat because everywhere you go, you show up. And hey, here's Dana Bash. Her husband was an Obama administration official, and he signed on to that phony intelligence letter that lied to the American people about the Hunter Biden laptop and the reporting in the New York Post. And let's see how much time do we have, because the list goes on. Honestly, boy. All right, let's go to the phones, Michael. Let's go to talk to the nice people. Let's go to Joel, calling from Tucson, Arizona. Joel, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Joel.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm great. What do you say, huh?
Just a question for you. What would it take to get 18 Democrat senators to join the 49 Republicans and throw this guy out of office and convict him? Is there any hope?
I think that, a global warming apocalypse is more likely than that in the next 2 years than because the Democrats.
Maybe they, like Menendez, maybe they could be bribed, offer 18 of them $10 million apiece. You know, there's a lot of Republican billionaires. It'd be a cheap price to pay, I think. They could turn around.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, then they could turn around, get rid of Kamala the same way, and then McCarthy, maybe not one of your favorite people, but he could run the place for a year and a half or so, you know?
I got it, getting one Democrat vote for impeaching. If the House were able to impeach for bribery and other high crimes and misdemeanors, impeach Joe Biden, I guarantee you the Senate would not convict him and remove him from office, because I don't think a single Democrat in the Senate, not one, would step up to vote for the Constitution and the rule of law, because the Democrats, as you know, Joel, I think, are not the party of the rule of law or the party of telling the truth, and they certainly never deviate from the party sheet music. They goose step in lockstep with the party. They should be wearing armbands, and maybe Joe Manchin could go with the impeachment, because Joe Manchin is calling on the Senate and Chuck Schumer to restore the rules, the dress code rules, along with Illinois Senator Dickey the Turban Durbin saying, hey, maybe we should wear ties instead of looking like hobos under bridges that just fell off of a freight train like Senator Fetterman. But Joel, I think your question is, what are the odds? And I think the odds are 0. And honestly, I think that we will all be wiped out by a giant tsunami before that happens. And that would be global warming. That would be climate change. It'd take some climate change for 18 Democrats in the Senate to vote with the Republicans. I don't see that. Democrats don't do that. They don't think for themselves. They don't have honest moments. They don't support, protect, defend the Constitution of the United States. They don't uphold their oaths. They are not oath keepers. In fact, the very term oath keeper is a slur to them. It's a dirty word. But good idea, Joel. We'll keep our eyes peeled, as painful as that sounds. Hey, breaking news. President Joe Biden's plan to inflict the digital dollar on the United States of America is already underway. And it's very important to understand the potential consequences because they're telling us a lot of stuff, but what they're telling us is not true. Time is of the essence. It's a good time to get smart on what all this means to you and your savings and your retirement. You know, you can help protect your savings from the catastrophe that is the digital dollar by diversifying with gold and silver IRAs. You get started by calling the experts at American Alternative Assets. You call them at 888-4GOLD20. That's 888-446-5320. They'll give you all the guidance you need on safeguarding your retirement savings. Say no to Joe Biden's dingy-dingbat digital dollar by calling 888-4GOLD20. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Seek your own legal, tax, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. Yeah. I like your flash of optimism there, though, Joel. You can't rule anything out in this world except this. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Our Democrat Party and Joe Biden, our President of the United States, and thanking the Congressional Black Caucus while addressing the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Because he's a racist. Oh, wait, he's a Democrat, so he's not a racist, because since they're the party of the Confederacy and the South and the Civil War and the KKK and Jim Crow, nothing they do is racist. Isn't that peculiar? Kind of strange. But these are the rules. These are the rules they've laid down. This is what information dominance can do for you and cultural dominance can do for you. Pretty extraordinary stuff. Yes, sir. We've got a lot of Democrat madness to get to, and I'm going to try to get to it as much of it at least as possible. Imagine if Donald Trump had thanked the Congressional Black Caucus while addressing the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, or if Ron DeSantis, or if any Republican for that matter, had done that. That would be no minor gaffe. That would be fodder for weeks of nonstop clatter on CNN and MSNBC and across the spectrum. Crazy, man, crazy. And let's bring back a dress code to the Senate. That's coming up. So, Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey indicted on bribery and other charges, helping 3 different businessmen and the nation of Egypt, but not the United States. And he came out and he said, hey, what's about this bribery thing? He's like, what, you're not supposed to do that? I thought you were supposed to do that. I thought that's how you got beach houses and like Joe Biden. What am I supposed to do on a government salary? I'm going to need more than that. So this Egyptian came along and bribed me. And what am I supposed to do? Say no? So Senator Bob Menendez, and then his daughter, who is a lovely young woman, is an anchor for MSNBC, NBC fake news, because she's the daughter of a Democrat senator, so she gets hired like so many others. And then she was the MC of the Democrat-run House Hispanic Caucus Gala last night, where Joe Biden spoke and thanked the Congressional Black Caucus because he's Joe Biden. And it should be noted also that Senator Bob Menendez, his daughter is an NBC News journalist, of course, who's hosting, of course, the Democrat-run House Hispanic Caucus Gala. And I'm guessing that Senator Bob Menendez son was also there. That is to say, the host, Alicia Menendez, the host, what do they call her? The mistress of the Hispanic Caucus Gala. I'm guessing that her brother was there because her brother, Rob Menendez, is a member of the House of Representatives from New Jersey. And Michael and I were talking about it. Maybe, it could be a happy family story. In the end, when Dad goes to prison, maybe Rob could take his Senate seat, so it wouldn't be all bad news. The family still wins because you got Senator Bob Menendez been indicted for bribery, and then his son, Representative Rob Menendez in the House of Representatives, who I assume was at the House Hispanic Caucus Institute Gala, which was hosted by his sister, Alicia Menendez, because it's all a great big circle fest in a Democrat Party hot tub. But whatever you do, be careful with that water, because you never know. Isn't it great to be a Democrat? And then, honestly, Rob Menendez, now in the House of Representatives, will doubtless seek to and probably successfully secure his father's Senate seat when that day comes. Rob Menendez proudly serving New Jersey's 6th district. Is it the 6th or the 8th district? But it's all in the family, and boy, is it a circle fest. The revolving door with glory holes, the Democrat Party and the media, the Democrat Party and the media, the Democrat Party and the media. And what's the difference? That's the merger of state and corporate power that Benito Mussolini described and warned us about. That's what he said fascism was. And that's what we've got an awful lot of in the United States of America. All right, Michael, let's go to the telephones. Let's talk to Rachel calling from Clark County, Virginia. Rachel, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hi, Chris. I got to say, it's an honor to talk to you. My husband is going to be so jealous.
Well, you put him on the horn. He can pick up the extension in the hallway.
Yeah, from our landline. So I wanted to call because I understand, and I'm totally understand the impeachment of Joe Biden. He's corrupt. It's terrible. However, the thought of President Kamala Harris as the first woman of America, president of America, just makes my skin crawl. It is such a production to put Joe Biden up there. They got to jack him up on Mountain Dew. They got to get his little note cards. It's a production, and I'm sure it's exhausting, and they're scared every time he goes out there. I say let him keep doing it. Let them make that production happen, and let's get this over with. Let's get him out, and then let's charge him, do whatever we got to do. But Kamala Harris is president. It's just, I can't imagine.
That is one of his insurance policies, right, is having a vice president who has an approval rating of, I think, 36% or something like that. And almost, it's got to be all Democrats and not even all of the Democrats that voted for Joe Biden in that 36%. But she makes everyone's skin crawl, Rachel. She puts the fear of God into the country, and that is one of the reasons why when you remove Joe Biden, you have to remove Kamala Harris at the same time, because if she became president of the United States, I think Putin might invade the rest of Europe, and China would go for Taiwan, and our border would be swarmed like it's a college football game, and it would all be over. You're absolutely right about that.
Let the production continue.
Honestly, and the reality is it would be bad for the Democrats, and the Democrats know that. And they're trying to sort through how this is going to go. And I don't know if you were listening earlier, Rachel, but I was talking about the fact that friends of mine in town are telling me that at the Biden White House, they're terrified every day when they wake up. And the word frustrated was used, or there's a lot of frustration at the White House. How is today going to go? How is Joe going to be today after he gets out of his hoodie-footy pajamas and comes downstairs, sometimes naked, because, Cobra. And all that, Cobra. And at, the Chris Plante store, we have Cobra coffee mugs and Cobra T-shirts as well, along with, and we do have our President Trump mugshot coffee mugs. I have one in my hand right now. with the Chris Plant Show logo on one side and the mugshot on the other side. And the mugshot, it says, "The left is coming for your rights." Because as we know, it's not just about coming for President Trump. It's about coming for everybody. Yeah, we're in a crazy place, aren't we, Rachel? And you're
absolutely.
As I understand
leave our children alone.
And leave our children alone and stop shooting people. Is this too much to ask? You know?
I don't think so. Let's close that border. Let's just say no, because at this point we're enriching cartels. They're either on the side of enriching cartels, sexually raping children, trafficking dead bodies. They're either on the side of that and the fentanyl or they're not. And it seems like they are, and this seems very intentional. There's no other way to describe it.
That's a fact. Now, I don't want to leap to any conclusions here, but your name is Rachel. Your name is Rachel.
Yes, sir.
You made reference to your husband.
Yes,
husband. So I'm gonna guess that you're a woman. You're a woman. See, and
I am absolutely a woman.
I don't want to leap to any conclusions here, and you don't want the first woman president.
Absolutely not. That bumbling buffoon who I call Heels Up Harris. Absolutely not. It would be a stain on our country, and that's just a travesty. Absolutely not. Let the production continue. Let them worry. Let him bumble and fumble, and let the world see it for what it really is.
Yeah, boy, we're really in that's quite a conundrum because he is not up to the job, and then their backup quarterback, Heels Up Harris. I like that. That's great stuff, and that's a Willie Brown reference. I'm thinking, the where she launched her political career, so to speak. And
Heels Up Harris.
Heels Up Harris. That's good. And having her as his backup quarterback means that no one wants to see him go because as terrible as he is, everyone knows that she's even worse and would be worse for the world. When the United States is unstable and the United States is weak, and right now the United States is both unstable and weak, and when the United States does not represent strong leadership, that means that the bad guys of the world are having the time of their lives, and the Vlad the Impaler Putins and Xi Jinpings and Kim Jong-uns, they're very, very happy to see the United States is not standing watch, not on that wall, because without the United States of America, the bad guys of the world run free. I've been talking about this for many years, Rachel. They say, what is my saying, Michael? Just kidding. My saying is
which one?
The United States of America has to be strong. The bad guys of the world have nothing to fear if they don't have to fear the United States of America. And right now, the bad guys of the world don't have to fear the United States of America. If Donald Trump were in the White House, I'm convinced Putin would not have invaded Ukraine. I don't think there's really any doubt about that because Trump's strong, United States strong, and he's demonized and vilified for telling our NATO partners to pay what they had committed to pay into the common defense of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and he's vilified for that. He warned Germany not to become dependent on Russia for their natural gas. Germany decided to become dependent on Russia for their natural gas. Remember, President Trump was jeered and booed and laughed at the United Nations for pointing out that Germany shouldn't depend on Putin to stay warm in the wintertime, but they did it anyway. I got to tell you, the weak leadership in the United States of America today, and you saw President Biden at the United Nations missing the handshake with the Brazilian president, the radical left-wing extremist Lula, completely embarrassing. And then, of course, thanking the Congressional Black Caucus when he's talking to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Democrats love to cleave everything and divide everything by race and ethnicity because they're racists, just by the way. And you look at the crime wave across the country, which no political leadership is talking about, Democrat or Republican. The mental illness on our streets everywhere, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's leading on that. Honestly, the crime wave, the homelessness, the madness, and we don't have any political leaders anywhere that are even raising an eyebrow, much less coming up with a plan to deal with these massive crisis-scale issues from the border to mentally ill people all over our sidewalks and the crime crisis, honestly. What are we going to do, Rachel? What are we going to do?
We got to vote. We got to get out there. We got to stand together as a country. Anybody who's normal, who's not on the side of indoctrinating our children, enriching cartels, anything, drugs through our border, anything that weakens this country, goodbye. We need to get rid of it. We need to stand strong again because this country is worth so much more than this. My husband did not fight. My family did not fight in any war for our country to turn into this. And it's shameful, and it really breaks my heart.
Yeah, and it's the left, and it's the Democrat Party. And as you said, it's not accidental. It's all very intentional. It's by design. Barack Obama warned us several years ago that we better teach our kids to speak Spanish. He didn't tell us it was because they've got a plan to open our borders and flood the country with untold tens of millions of non-English speaking, uneducated, unvetted, unfiltered, not checked for diseases and so on as they flood the country. And I think that all Republican governors should get together, mobilize the Air National Guard aircraft to fly all the illegal aliens to New York City and drop them off in Times Square because, this madness has to stop. And of course, when they get a little taste of it, they get a little spoonful of it, then it's a crisis. It's not a crisis when Texas is being overrun or Florida or any place else, only where they live. And honestly, maybe another 20 plane loads to Martha's Vineyard and just disgorge them at the quaint little airport on Martha's Vineyard. Absolute madness, Rachel. Madness.
Yes, sir.
Well,
sadly.
I'm sorry your husband will be jealous. Thank him for me.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. It was an absolute honor to speak with you.
Thank you, Rachel. Have a great weekend.
God bless.
Thank you.
As well.
Thanks very much. Have a great American weekend and a happy weekend. Be happy. That's the best way to ruin a liberal's day, is to be happy and be normal. And Rachel mentioned being normal and stopping the cartels and the flow of drugs and we do have Remember Normal T-shirts and Remember Normal coffee mugs at the Chris Plant store because remembering normal is a good idea, I think. And talking about the drugs, and Rachel, we lost 107,000 Americans to fatal drug overdoses in 1 year. In 1 year. That number is greater than the number of Americans that were killed in the Korean War, the Vietnam War, all of the post-September 11th wars in Iraq and Afghanistan combined. Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan combined in 1 year. And that's because of the open borders, and nobody's lifting a finger to do anything about it except maybe Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Isn't that amazing? That number of 107,000 is also equal to what we lost in 1 year of World War II, of the Second World War, from fatal drug overdoses in the United States. And Joe Biden, with his drug addict son, is sending out crack pipes to people, and Democrats are opening up safe drug, what do they call them? So we're places where they can go and do heroin. And we're handing out Narcan like it's chewing gum across the country, which is what you use on someone when they've overdosed on an opioid, which is happening all over the place every day. What was it? The governor of Virginia said 5 a day in Virginia, five fatal drug overdoses, deaths a day in Virginia alone, a day, all right? Times 365, times 50 states, plus the District of Columbia. And the Democrats are waving the drug cartels in. Hey, do you have smelly odors in your home that you just can't get rid of no matter how hard you try? Well, now you can get rid of any stinky odor, your home, your office, with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. The Thunderstorm gets rid of strong odors from cooking and cigarette smoke and litter boxes and trash cans and even leftists. Honestly, Michael Moore is no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The Thunderstorm starts working in a matter of seconds to clear any room of any odor. Plus, there are no expensive filters to buy and replace over and over again on a schedule. Forget about that. You can hold one in your hand. More than 350,000 Thunderstorms already sold. With thousands of 5-star reviews online, you can look them up for yourself. And this week, I've got a great deal for you on your own Eden Pure Thunderstorms. Right now, You can save $200 American on 3 Eden Pure thunderstorms for whole home protection. Take one to the office, put one in the teenager's room. That's 3 units for under $200. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. You enter the discount code Chris, C-H-R-I-S. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Chris. And because you hang with me, shipping is free. Yes, sir. Yeah, Rachel, we've got a long, hard slog ahead of us, as the great Donald Rumsfeld once said, and we are at 888-630-9625.
The Congressional Black Caucus embodies all those values.
Now, 9 deputies have been indicted in the death of a black man in jail. And there's something very interesting about all this. The news reporting primarily. 9 corrections deputies in Shelby County, Tennessee, have been indicted in connection with the in-custody death of Gershon Freeman last year, including 2 deputies who are facing murder charges. Those 2 deputies, Stevon Jones and Courtney Parham, have been indicted by a grand jury on charges of second-degree murder and aggravated assault resulting in death for their alleged involvement in Freeman's death while incarcerated at Shelby County Jail in October of 2022. So October of last year, less than a year ago, 7 other deputies were indicted on lesser charges related to Freeman's death. Freeman's family has been calling for justice and accountability, and we'd like to see a lot of that all over the place, in Washington too, but we don't get much of it. For months after surveillance footage revealed a violent encounter between Freeman, 33 years old, and several deputies, October 5th of 2022, which ultimately resulted in his death. The footage made public in March shows several officers punching, kicking, and using what appears to be pepper spray on Freeman as they attempt to subdue him after he lunged at officers from inside his cell. So wait a minute. He's in jail because of crimes. He's in his cell. He's attacking deputies. They subdue him. Tragically, he dies. Now, all 9 of the deputies that were in the area have been indicted. Now, here's what the news media doesn't mention. Sometimes they show pictures, but they don't say it out loud. All 9 deputies are black. Racists, and the racists and the racist news media don't mention that because they're racists.